Welcome, everybody, to our Ayurveda talk. I am Marie. I am an Ayurvedic health practitioner. And tonight, for our talk, we are going to talk about what happens when we start to get older and what are the practices and the herbs and the lifestyle and the diet that you need as you get older. So, just a little review. When we're born, we are in a stage of life that is all about growth, and it's plentiful, right? It's easy to heal. There's just lots of growth happening, and that is what we call the kapha stage of life. That's all about earth and water element. Kapha is earth and water. The next stage of life happens around in our early 20s, and we hit what we call the pitta stage of life. And that is all about action, activity, reaching our goals. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get married. I'm going to acquire a house. You're doing, acquiring. And it's a very active time of our life. It's all about reaching our goals. That's what Pitta does. Pitta is the fire element. Fire element is laser beam focused. It's fire and it's motivated. So you're most motivated in life typically between your early 20s and till it could go on a long time. Actually, some people will be in that stage well into their 60s. I have a couple uncles that were still working into their 80s. So, but our body changes, things change. And I've had several conversations with some of my older clients that are struggling with some things. You know, things kind of go up and down and in and out. And I used to be like this, and now I'm like this. Oh, I'm experiencing this, and now I'm experiencing that. Anytime that's happening, that's movement. That's vata. When things become variable, let's say you used to run hot when you were a young adult or even a mature adult, and you always ran hot, and now all of a sudden you're running cold. And it's like foreign, but then all of a sudden you'll have a day where you're hot and then you're cold again. It's just these things start to happen, and it's called variable conditions. Just like when there's variable weather outside, it's being impacted by vata. So after you get done with that very active stage of life where you acquire, you get your education, you have children, you have a home, blah, 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 all that stuff is happening. Then you move into the later stage of life, which is vata. And vata is ether air. Ether air is very subtle. I was just telling a client of mine, she's dealing with multiple sclerosis, and I have other clients with ALS, Parkinson's. Those are all northern hemisphere conditions, vata conditions. People do not have those diseases and those conditions when they're closer to the border. It's warm and it's moist. Vata dries everything out. It is cold and harsh. It makes you more subtle. So what does vata need? Vata needs moisture and warmth. Exactly what you get when you move closer to the equator. So I always tell these clients, I'm like, you're in the worst climate. You're in the worst climate for your condition. And most of the time they can't do anything about where they are. Here, we're in the mountains here. Reno is not near Las Vegas, guys. Just saying, when I moved to Colorado, everybody thought Reno was 2 hours from Vegas. They had no clue. Reno is in the mountains. It's high desert. And Lake Tahoe is literally only 40 minutes away. So you're dealing with high altitude, ether air, and you're dealing with an area where it can be very windy, it's harsh, it's dry, it's very arid. It's just a harsh climate, and there's not as much oxygen. There's no moisture. There's no moisture, very little moisture. That's what happens when you're high desert or you're in the mountains. There's no moisture. When I lived in Colorado, I thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe because it got so cold and so dry there that we ended up having to put a humidifier on to our heater. So when the heater came on, instead of sucking any little bit of moisture that was left, it was now pushing moisture out into our home. So it was brutal, brutal, brutal. So for those of you who are starting to experience these vata conditions in your body because you are moving into the last stage of life, vata, you guys, it's going to happen. We're all going to get older. Unless you die, you're going to get older. My son was harassing me as we were driving home from a trip. He's like, "Oh, Mom, you're getting old. Yeah, you're getting old." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I'll accept it, fully accept it." But when you get older, you are moving into the vata stage of life. That means that you have to move into the counter of that. So, anti-vata life. You need to start bringing in moisture. You need to start bringing in a vata diet. That means what's going to nourish vata. So that means foods that are going to stick to you, foods that are going to actually help build tissue, more protein, more foods that are having more fluids. So, like broth. You know, people think salads are healthy. Salads are not healthy for vata. It dries them out further, right? So they need soups, they need stews, they need more oils because they are becoming more subtle. Oil's the opposite. Oil's like earth. So you bring in oils to help ground vata. So in old age, we start to become more vata, whether we like it or not. It doesn't matter what your constitution is. You get older, you will become more vata. You're going to lose your elasticity in your face. It's okay. Grow old gracefully. You're going to start having weird things happen, like just little twitchy things and vata things. Sleep won't be as good. Those kinds of things happen. And so you need a vata diet, a diet that nourishes vata. You need oil therapy. That means you need to receive treatments that are going to help bring in moisture. So that the treatment that I do that does that is the bliss therapy, Abhyanga. So bliss therapy is Abhyanga, which is oleation, oil therapy, and then Shirodhara. Shirodhara is going to calm down all that vata and also calms pitta as well. So it calms it down because vata is just random. It's moving all over the place. It's doing weird things. So they need more oil enemas. I have to do those because I'm more vata. They need more oil massages, lots of oil. They need external oil application with sesame oil and definitely medicated. My favorite is Kashira Bala and Ashwagandha Bala. That's what I use. Okay, ghee is the best for mental clarity, and it also nourishes the nerve tissue. It's so ghee, you guys. Ghee, Ghee. I say it to people and they're like, ghee? What? What are you saying? Ghee is so incredible. It's going to help the nerves. It's going to help your senses. It heals. Ghee metabolizes sweet, which means it moves deepest into the tissues and it will help to build. Great for pitta too, because pitta, fire element, burns things out and dries everything out. So if you're a pitta person living in the mountains here, it's a vata environment, you're also going to be drying out. You're also going to be becoming more depleted way faster than you would if you were in a climate where there was some humidity. And so I know everybody that's pitta, they're like, "Oh, I can't handle it. I can't handle humidity. It's just too much." But they need it. They need some of that because they need the moisture. Maybe cool humidity, like being up in Washington and Oregon where it's cooler. Okay, they need to tonify and they need to do reduction therapies, and that needs to be their primary focus. All of the foods that they're doing, tonifying means to tone and nourish. All the foods and the herbs that they need to be nourishing. Okay. And they also need to be doing lots of rejuvenation. It's so important. They need to rebuild their body organs and their tissues. Okay. There is a classical Ayurvedic traditional formulation that I usually give to people that have been either they got very depleted from being sick or something happened. And I used it when I had sepsis. And you guys, I almost died from sepsis. It took me years to recover from that. And I use this formulation. It's called Shavan Prash. You can get it at a regular Indian store, but I wouldn't get that one. You want an organic one, so get a good one. Like the Himalayan Institute has a great one. Banyan Botanicals has a great one. It's just expensive there. There are other ones that are cheaper. You could try them out, see what you think. Now, Shavan Prash is a tonic. It nourishes and it maintains health and youth of the tissues. It is for helping people live longer and more vibrant. So it's excellent for retaining memory. So if you're dealing with like fogginess, you need Shavan Prash. And revitalizing the brain cells. It's also great. You can get it and take it with Go-To Cola. I have that if you need it. And that will also improve hearing. And because as we get older, remember our senses start to be impacted. So our vision declines, our hearing declines, our smell declines, the taste declines. So all of that starts to happen and you want to really support. Ashwagandha is another go-to. So the Shavan Prash with, if you added Go-To Cola, it's also going to be great for helping with visual acuity and also great for just stabilizing. So it's going to stabilize and ground the whole system. Ashwagandha is a builder. It helps strengthen, and it's great for the bones and the joints. Fantastic. Also great for stabilizing blood sugar levels. I have clients that are taking it for blood pressure. So I didn't even recommend that to them. I have a client that's a nurse practitioner. She takes ashwagandha for high blood pressure. And she discovered that on her own. She said, oh, I take ashwagandha. I'm like, well, fantastic. It's also great for premature sexual dysfunctions. So if you're having some of that, ashwagandha is a go-to. Urinary incontinence strengthens your vital reserves, called your ojas, and your immune system. Ashwagandha is fantastic for us as we move into our elderly stage, our vata stage. So ashwagandha, very beneficial. Another great herb is googaloo, and Google, and it is great for arthritis. So sometimes arthritis starts to happen if you had joints that you used a lot when you were young. They can become arthritic, swollen and cracking, and that is a great herb for helping to just kind of stabilize that vata. And it also will prevent further arthritis from happening. Very important. You can get Shilat tea, which is going to help kidneys. That's your part of your water metabolism and reproductive system. And also for constipation, you want Triphala. I love Triphala. Triphala is another traditional formulation, great for all the doshas, especially good for vata. Drink lots of water when you do it. It rejuvenates and it also tones the colon. Now, here's the thing about the colon, you guys. Many diseases start in the colon. All three doshas get out of balance in the colon and they move out into the system from there. So really you want to have a healthy colon. Triphala is great for that. Okay, so women also need to have a little bit more nourishment. Women are a little different than men, and they can use aloe vera gel on a regular basis for vitality and keeping their whole hormonal system stabilized. Also, shatavari is great to also stabilize those hormones and can be taken daily with warm milk. We do like milk in Ayurveda. However, we recommend whole milk, never ever anything but that, and organic. And you can add a little bit of saffron because it's also a tonic. Okay, now that is basically it. There are lots of other therapies that we could do for the elderly, but the biggest ones you want to do are all those ones that are grounding and stabilizing the system. And that means oil, oil, oil. You absolutely have to do daily abhyanga. Every day you need to be doing the daily oiling, putting the oil on your skin, and then even taking a tablespoon of ghee every morning. You also need to be doing nasya, which is the nose therapy, and that will help also with mental clarity. So all of that really helps. If you're not sure, then make an appointment. I will support you. As we get older, we become more fickle. Our whole body becomes more finicky, and it can be frustrating, especially if you were so capable when you were younger and now all of a sudden things just start falling apart. Okay, get a humidifier as well. You need a humidifier going if you live in a climate like where I am right now here in Reno. All right, well, that's our talk for tonight. So if you have any questions regarding getting older and what happens to us as we get older, we become more unstable, and you want to help stabilize, and there's a whole bunch of things you can do and a whole bunch of herbs that are very supportive.